At the old German grounds. That goes back a few years, doesn't
Few
it?
years, huh? We
Where
started
was
there
that?
in, what,
Where's
in
the German? That was
83?
on
That's York Road.
York Road.
York Road, German
York
Central
Road.
Farm Grounds,
God,
yeah.
I remember when the
Deutschland Rally.
first one that started. I remember as well.
I remember the first one. The ones in between are a little blurry, but I remember the first one.
God, John, you must have been 2 years old.
16. 16.
Yeah, but it has come a long way. How many years is it now? What's
This will
this?
be our 33rd.
33rd year. Oh, you started 3 years after I started the radio program.
That's right.
We're on
Can you believe
36 years.
Can you believe it? Don't blink.
No. John seems to get bigger and better every year, and of course I know the weather is a huge factor in festivals like this, and I just want to say that to put a festival like this on takes a lot of courage. It took a lot of courage by your dad to start it 33 years ago. And of course with the rain in Cleveland you just never know, but he's done it, and his staff.
He still does it.
And still does it. I got a lot of credit has to go to you guys for doing it. But I think you do it because you like it, don't you?
You do. We were at an event yesterday with the AOH State Convention, and one of the persons talking spoke of it's not work when you love it.
Yeah.
And that's true. You stand out there on Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and there's a couple of tens of thousands of people standing there having fun, and they say they look forward to reunion and seeing their friend that they didn't see since last year. So that's what it's all about.
Let's talk about getting organized for this thing. It doesn't start last week or last month. When do you start planning for the next one?
Usually the Sunday of the previous one. We'll approach some of the bands and say, I'll see you next year. And our goal is always to do about a third of each, a third new, a third that we haven't had in a while, and a third that are returning from the previous year. And approach them, say we'd love to see you back next year, and then we start looking. I go to 8 or 10 festivals per year, both Irish and others, and try and find new talent or somebody we haven't seen before. And there isn't a whole lot of groups out there that we haven't had before, especially if they've been around a while. It's newer groups that we're finding. Runa, for example, is coming this year for the first time, and they've only been together a little under 2 years, I think. So we hadn't seen them before. Some of the folks in Runa were in Slide, so we knew of them and we knew their quality.
I have one of their CDs.
Fantastic.
Slide.
People are going to love them. They're a great, great group.
You know, a group that you brought in recently was Step Crew.
Yes, last year
Love
was
them.
their first. Great response, amazing group. We always say they're like Riverdance, only faster.
Yeah.
And they just let rip, dancing and singing. And
The two guys in that, are they Polish American or Polish
they are
Canadian?
European. I'm not sure exactly where they're from. The Pulaski brothers, they are the heart and soul of the group. And then John Pulaski is married to Kara Butler of the Irish dancing fame. The two of them are just dynamo. And John's brother Nathan, they're really the heart and soul behind the group. But there's 11 people in the group. It's musicians and dancers and singers and a little bit of everything, and just so vibrant.
Now, in the beginning, you probably didn't have too much to do with selecting the acts, but I'm sure you said at 16, you said, Dad, you gotta have some of my kind of music in here. But
Yeah.
he pretty much
He did.
decided what was to be staged at that festival.
Yeah,
on
he's an
York
avid
Road.
reader. He knows who's new into the scene, and he knows the old folks and a lot of the ballad groups that he grew up with in Ireland. That's what we were built on originally. The festival was very unique in that it brought bands from Ireland. That's kind of changed over time as the musical tastes have changed and the familiarity with the bands has changed. So we have added a Celtic rock, and we have added things like Step Crew that are a vibrant, no matter whether you're Irish or not.
But there are a lot more of them available now in America than there was then, right?
Yes, no question. I mean, barleycorn is a Cleveland tradition, huge in Ireland during their day when they were in Ireland. And they do a tour every year. And when they go back to Ireland, all the local people are coming to their gigs because they don't get the ballads anymore over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to see barleycorn, they want to see those old ballads. It's not available in Ireland anymore. So we're very blessed here.
Well, I remember over in York Road, Jimmy Carton was one of the mainstays.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yes,
A
that's
great
correct.
ballad singer too,
Fantastic.
wasn't
And now he models himself at the tenor. Just a magnificent voice.
he? Is he still singing?
Oh yeah, he's all over. He was at the festival 2 years ago.
Was he?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see him.
You missed him. You blinked. I told you there's no blinking.
Oh yeah. Quite a personality.
Yes.
Jimmy, yeah. John, we're going to come back and talk more to you about the 216-901-0945. Big festival coming to town in 2 weeks, starting 1 week from next Friday. And of course, it's the big festival every year in the Cleveland area. John, some new stuff coming on board this year. But how many acts would you say altogether?
31.
31. You got them all counted, huh?
I do. I know well.
Yeah, you know every one of them. Did it take 31 weeks to book them?
Oh no, I think we did it maybe 2, 3.
2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks.
and
2
it
or
gets
3
earlier
weeks.
every year. It's amazing. It used to be we start in January. Now we start in pretty much July.
How many of the acts would you say you bring from Ireland now compared to what you did with, say, 20 years ago?
Yeah, I'd say 20 years ago, more than half would be from Ireland, maybe even 2/3, and now it's probably 4 or 5. Now some of those groups that are based in Ireland also based in the U.S. in the summer, so that's a little easier, not worrying about visas and that. They already have their work visas, so they're here, and then we bring them in. But it's always a challenge. Visas are always a challenge.
Sure.
It adds to a lot of expense, and the bottom line is everything that we can, we give to charity. A little over $750,000 so far. $750,000 has been given to charity since we started the festival. So the more we can keep expenses down, the more we can give away, and that's paying it forward.
I know through the years you've given a lot to the Holy Family Cancer Home, haven't you?
Yes.
And the Westside Catholic Center also.
Right.
You donated that. That's just some of them. I know you've given to a lot of them. It's a great cause, and when people support this festival, they are supporting a charity.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation, no question.
You're like the Mayo Society.
That's right.
Except
Wonderful organization.
we haven't caught up to you yet. But I did find out. We did some calculations. We will have about 160,000 donated by the end of this year from the time we started giving
That's
money
fantastic.
away, which is not bad for it.
Fantastic.
So I think it's nice to do that, and it makes the organization a lot more worthwhile. It makes people feel like they're really contributing and doing something good when they attend these things.
Absolutely. Think about the Irish history and how much they've gone through, and to be able to turn that around and give it back to other people, that's what it's all about.
Now, speaking about Irish history, John, a few years ago you guys made a decision to not just put music on at the festival. You want to kind of immerse the Irish community in the history of Ireland right at your festival every year, and you've pretty much done that. It is quite an achievement.
Oh, well, thank you. We're very deliberate in choosing the name Cleveland Irish Cultural Festival. So it's not just music, it's not just dance. There's for lack of a better word, it is educational. You can go in there and you can read something, see some pictures, maybe find the county you're from. Our biggest display and our most popular display is called Irish Immigrants to Cleveland. And it's 20 boards over 80 feet of pictures from when people first came to America. Their marriage photos, they're coming off the boat, whatever it might be. And then we've seen it time and time again. A grandfather walks in with his hand holding his little grandson and walking him up to that board and saying, "That's my grandfather." And you're seeing back 5, 6, 7 generations, whatever it might be. And I made the mistake one year of not putting that up. Just wanted to change things up, keep it different. And boy, did I hear about it. People were really looking for that display. So every year it's a feature of the festival. And there are over 200 other displays inside Temple Bar and Museum that'll tell you a little bit about the history, both past and present, and things coming to Ireland as well.
John, where were you when I got on the boat in Cove many years ago?
Do you want to name the
there
year?
wasn't- there wasn't-
You want to name the year?
I don't want people to know how old I am.
1845.
No,
1845. Black 47.
No, it was 1961.
That's right.
Actually,
Well,
I got on the boat in Cove in County Cork. I'll never forget it. My dad dropped me off the night before because he had to get back to Mayo. A cow was calving back on the land or something that he had to get back to. So he dropped me off, and I stayed in the 3rd floor. I remember it well, the 3rd floor of a rooming house in Cove, and everything in the place was painted green. And I recall while trying to find the bathroom, there was one bathroom, I think, for 23 rooms on that floor, on the 3rd floor. And the hallways were so narrow, even I thought they were so narrow even then. That house is probably gone. But I recall getting on the ship the next morning, getting on what they call the tender, and taking us out to the ship, to the RMS Sylvania. And I'm sure your dad went through something similar. But it was an experience really that I wouldn't trade for anything. A lot of people today jump on an airplane in a few hours. They're in New York. Took us 6 hours, and of course learned a lot on the voyage. Got exposed to the ways of the world.
And it wasn't always you then that once you left you weren't coming back.
That's right.
Back in those days.
That's right.
Now people are going 3, 4 times a year sometimes. What a different world.
Oh yeah, it's a big change. But I often think of the people that did it long before I did, when the crossing was really gruesome. It was really tough, rough crossing. At least I had a bunk to lay in. There was we had 4 bunks in the room that I was in the ship. 4 guys.
Yeah. Back then they were landing on the ground, and it was a question of whether they'd make it or not.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, people get a kind of a sense of immigration when they go to the festival. That's right. Isn't that right?
There's no question. It's in our DNA. Hopefully that's why we treat others well, because we were treated well and given an opportunity here. But if you want to learn about your past, the festival is a fantastic place. But we don't get stuck in the past. We do things then, we do things for now, we do things for the future. Whether it be musically, there's rock bands, there's trad bands, groups playing music from way long ago, and groups playing music that they wrote yesterday. So it's a
Covers
great mix.
everything.
Everything.
Runs the gamut. Speaking of the running the gamut, here's a guy that's going to be at the festival. His name is James in Irish music, and they've done something a bit like the Clancy Brothers did years ago. They've taken the old and the new, and they've made it appealing to the young.
Yeah.
How have they done this?
They're amazing, and it's interesting. They are sons of legends. Brian Dunphy, Sean Dunphy's son, and the Clancys, and the Wrights, and it goes right down Furies. So they're 4 sons of legends who kind of did the same thing, as you said, as the Macon brothers did, and Clancy brothers. They took that music that was kind of old and forgotten, and they dusted it off, and they put it out in a new pounding, different way.
Right.
That's not just loud, it's vibrant, it's exciting.
But you know what about them, John? They're all incredible musicians also, not just singers. Like the Clancy brothers, when they came out, they strummed along a bit. But these guys are hugely accomplished musicians.
Yes, amazing, and each on their own, stood on their own talent. One was a lead for Phantom of the Opera. I mean, this tells you the kind of talent level that they have individually.
Mm-hmm.
They put it together, and it's a cliche, but it's magic. And to see them on Sunday night or Saturday night, at the end of the night, at the gazebo stage, and the whole place is just pulsing with excitement and fun, and people are dancing, and this is where the reunions give birth to the next generation and say, I want to go to the festival, because guys like the High Kings and other bands there, Cherish the Ladies and Carbon Leaf and Seven Nations and Step Crew and so on, that they really put it in people's hearts.
How many days are they playing, John? Are they on all 3 days?
They are on all 3 days, twice each day. So you can catch it once on Friday, twice Saturday, and twice Sunday.
Here they are, the High Kings. It's called All Around the World. They are very good.
Each year, and we raffle that off. And last year, for the first time in our 32 years at that time, the winner, when it was announced, was actually in the audience. And
Really?
She stood up and screamed, "That's me, that's me!" And that never happened before in 32 years, so it was a great fun event.
Okay, so give us a call if you want to win 2 tickets to this wonderful festival. 216-901-0945. 216-901-0945. If you are caller number 7, you're going to win 2 $12 tickets to this fabulous festival. All right, here are the callers. Johnny Vaughan, the young fellow that's coming out from Galway. A lot of his music would be on there. And there's tons of new artists in Ireland. A lot of them are called indie rock. I don't know what, John, I don't know what indie rock means, but
It's always evolving, but we put it as modern music, as you said, or new things coming.
Mhm.
It's not influenced as much by what other people are doing as what they find inside themselves, and that's why it's indie. It's their own, not entering.
yeah, I imagine it's the abbreviation of individual. Would it be? I thought for a while it was talking about Indian.
Independent.
No, it's independent. Indie
Looking
rock.
forward to being on their show next Sunday.
Oh, you're going on
Yeah,
next
going
Sunday?
on next Sunday with
Great,
Bridget.
great.
It's just a vibrant, fun group of people
Oh,
that are
yeah,
really
they're
putting it
fun.
out there.
And they're right here in the studio. John, you're a regular
Better
here.
get a cot.
Yeah, do. So Bridget and Josh, they do a great job. They're young people, and this is the way we keep Irish music alive in this town, having young people like this. Bridget has worked with Fox News for years. Very, very experienced. I saw an interview she did with Jim Tressel last year. She's very good at that. And also Josh. Josh is a pretty accomplished lawyer, a young lawyer. She got out of law school a couple of years ago, and they're great. They got great chemistry between the two of them. They talk back and forth. They're not like us, like Eddie and I and JC always step all over each other all the time, constantly doing it. They're just much more disciplined than we are. But they do a great job. So if you get a chance, tune into them. And even if you're an old guy like me, you will. They played a few songs last week that I really liked. So, and you're going to be on with them next week.
Yes. Yes. So, keep supporting the young folks.
That's great. So John will come back and talk to you more about this.
I said
Is the volunteers, the people that you have worked with your dad, year in, year out. There's old friendships there, I know that, but there are new ones that you've built up through the years. How do you do it? How do you keep it going, go from one generation to another like you've done? I think that is quite an achievement. And there's a lesson here for clubs to learn how to do this the way you guys have done with the festival.
It's not something I can explain other than you try to treat people as best you can, and we're all equal partners. It's not someone's festival. It is Cleveland Festival. And our volunteers, our generation of carnies and lackeys, and the names go on and on and on, that are in their third and fourth generation now. All of my nieces and nephews, 17 of them, are all involved and love coming out, and we all get together. And the carnies and the lackeys and everyone else could say the same thing. It's, last year we started a new creative team, which was geared towards young folks coming in and tell us, what do you want? What do you want to see at the festival? We know well that the clubs are all struggling with this. I am the last first generation in Cleveland. That's not going to come again. There's not going to be people coming from Ireland into Cleveland in the kind of numbers they have in the past. I'm the last first generation. And we have to find a way to get those people involved. The clubs are really struggling with this. They're getting older and older. You better bring them in now before it's too late. And look back, we have a lot of nostalgia at the festival. Everybody says, oh, I wish that was still around. Well, we're aware that this issue is now. We better fix it now so we don't say, 5 years from now, oh, I wish that was still around. We know it's a problem. We got to fix it now. And by doing that, by bringing people into a room, having them out for us ideas, and not just hearing the ideas, but actually put them into place so that they know that their opinion is respected and they know that they are part of the team. And it's a team effort to put on the festival. 350 volunteers. Some of us, probably 30 or 40 of us, do it all year long. But the ones working the weekend of and the week before and after cleaning up, they are as integral to the festival, no matter where you start, from Dad as a founder and director to the guy that's picking up cups to everywhere in between. All of us do those things. There's nothing that I would ask anyone else to do that I wouldn't do myself.
Okay. John, I don't know if you saw it in the New York paper yesterday. I don't know if it was in the New York Times, but they said there was like 300 people sworn in as citizens in New York. Not one was Irish. Not one. In New York City, can you believe this? Not a single
Cleveland's
person.
trying hard to make it come back again with Irish Network Cleveland. That started up again, and hopefully that's going to be a business opportunities for people wanting to do business in Cleveland, especially when you look at the vibrancy of downtown Cleveland and Tremont, the 25-year-olds that are moving into Cleveland now. We got to take care of those folks so they stay and more keep coming. We always had the Irish immigrant. A guy came over, worked hard, made money, brought his brother over, who worked hard, made money too, and brought the sister over. And that has been lost. And we have to find a way to recreate that to help others. By paying it forward, we keep our ideas and our people fresh and alive.
Hey, I bet it's fun though. And all of you guys get together, the old timers
Jerry.
and some of the young ones, and there's 50 or 60 of you in a room, and one guy is at the back of the room, some young guy says, listen, I want rock and roll, I want nothing but rock. Another guy says, I want Petty Riley and I want to hear some ballads. I'm sure you get some
There's
of
a
that.
lot of good discussion.
Yeah, you have to have it though.
You have to have it. And there's not so much the idea that I wrote down and brought to the meeting. It's when I say that idea and somebody else says, well, we can't do that, but what if we did this? And then different ideas start flowing and you get the juices flowing and it becomes a brainstorming session and things come out of nowhere like, God, this is perfect, let's do it.
Constantly evolving, right, John? For generations, Chambers Funeral Home has been a part of the great history of Northeast Ohio.
Something for the kids, a food court, a lot of new things this year as well, with the beer garden, craft beers, and all those great Irish products, more than 50 vendors. You can get all your tickets, you can get festival gear, you can get whiskey tasting tickets, all on our website. The schedule is on there for everything. And that's Cleveland Irish, all one word, clevelandirish.org, O-R-G, clevelandirish.org. And you get tickets on there, see the schedule, see who's when. Everybody plays all 3 days. So if you really want to see High Kings, and you can't come Saturday, don't worry, they're on Friday and on Sunday as well. But the schedule's online. You can buy tickets in advance online, and that does close. It is advance. So on Wednesday before the festival, that will close. So if you haven't got your tickets in advance before then, you can't get them on Thursday or Friday or Saturday if they are in advance. There's also gear on there. You can buy nice festival t-shirts if you don't want to carry it around at the grounds. We have 2 brand new t-shirts. Our theme this year is Ireland is calling you home to Cleveland. And live more life, be more Irish. And both of those t-shirts will feature that. As well as all of our festival favorites that have been around for a few years. So there's a lot of information online as well. You can always call me or email me. I'm glad to answer. I am John at clevelandirish.org. Give me a shout and I'll be glad to help you out with anything. We have all of our vendors. That's all set. There are 50-some vendors this year, and our bands are all set. So if you're calling for next year, if you wouldn't mind, wait until the Monday after.
Okay. John, you have a couple of books that you've authored.
I do, and I have a new one coming out, Jerry.
Okay, what is it?
It is called Notes of Turbulent Times. It's all about the Irish music that we all grew up from 1916, of course, but also 1798, right up through the 1981 Hunger Strikers. So it goes right through that. Where did the song come from? Why was it written? Who wrote it? And kind of some of the backstory for that. So hopefully have that out by St. Patrick's Day. Of course, would be a nice one day, but certainly by the 1916 anniversary. And then the other 3 books are still doing well, still selling. It's amazing. The first book came out in 2006, so we're near 10 years, and I still get a royalty check every month for a few bucks. So it's nice to see
Great.
people that enjoy the
Wonderful.
book, even after all this time.
Eddie? Oh, all right. So let's wrap up the program here with a couple guys, local guys,